How's it going, everyone? I'm Keegs, and today we're going to be talking about Andor. Now, this is a Star Wars show that I don't think has gotten the recognition that it deserves because the viewership's been pretty low, but honestly, it's incredible. And I don't even need to preface this with it being a great Star Wars show. I mean, this is a great show just in general. I know a lot of the feedback with Star Wars content can be that the universe is so large, so why do these same characters keep running into other well-known characters? And I think this one does a very good job at not having too many cameos, and the characters don't really run into a lot of other super well-known figures in the Star Wars universe, so it actually feels like it's expanding the universe and not making it smaller. Don't get me wrong, I love a few cameos here and there, and I love seeing some of the characters that I love, but I don't think we should shoehorn them in at every turn just because we can. At first, I thought this was going to be a show about the rebellion and how it started to form, which it is, but it's also way more of a personal story for Cassian Andor and really telling the personal tale of what changed his mind specifically into joining the rebellion. The Empire in this show also seems incredibly menacing, which I absolutely love because I feel like a lot of times our characters that we know and love are very overpowered, so to speak, so you don't get really the full picture of how scary the Empire is for just innocent, normal people that are just going about their daily lives. You can really see in so many of these scenes how the characters really just feel powerless and like they can't actually do anything or make an impact in the Empire at all, and it takes everything in their power to do the smallest act of rebellion. There's also a pretty dark undertone that reminds you all the sacrifices that all these founding members of the rebellion had to make in order to secure a successful rebellion. I mean, it's a little bit more like Saw Gerrera style instead of like Bail Organa, who often feels a little bit more inspired and motivational and makes you feel good as a rebellion, but it's really the Luthans and Saw Gerreras that kind of put the metal to the floor and just really dig in and make sure that they will do anything necessary in order to win this fight because they know that that's how the Empire is going to function and there's only really one way to combat them, and that's just to kind of go down to their level sometimes. Mon Mothma was incredible in this, and after seeing this, it is such a shame that they cut out her small portion in Revenge of the Sith because she's an incredible actress, and they give her a family in this, and she has some more personal problems, and they really start to build and dig her depth to make her a more well-rounded character, and she has struggles too outside of the rebellion, and those are just really nice to see. The visuals in this show are absolutely incredible, and you can tell that their budget here was leagues above their next show because everything looked amazing from the practical effects all the way to the CGI, and it also at the same time makes you wonder, why didn't they give some of their other shows, like maybe Kenobi, a slightly higher budget, because that has a lot of characters that we know, and it would have been nice to see this kind of budget in those shows, but I guess they assume that because it's Vader and Kenobi, people are going to go see it anyway, whereas Andor, the only way they could make sure that people get roped into this is if it's actually incredible, which they did succeed. If you haven't watched Andor yet, though, I highly suggest going to watch it because it's fantastic, and you will not be disappointed whether you're a Star Wars fan or not. But for now, we're going to get into spoilers. Starting off, at the beginning, we see Cassian in a brothel looking for his sister, which I thought was a little weird because they never talked about that again in the entire show, and I understand that's how he ended up getting roped into the rebellion, is through those actions, but that seems like a really big plot hole or plot point that you would just abandon and never go back to. I mean, even when he got a bunch of money after the heist, he didn't go looking for his sister, he went to go hang out on a beach, so I don't really understand why they would use his sister like that, unless his sister is in the rebellion now and he ends up meeting her in season 2, otherwise it feels like it would just be a really weird plot point to abandon. Mon Mothma having a family and a very strained marriage just was really interesting to me because clearly she does not trust her husband at all. He is very sympathetic to the Imperial causes, I believe, and she has a daughter who also is not on the best of terms with her, and I just feel like these personal connections really help shape Mon Mothma as more of a character, and you can really start to feel for her and understand what she is sacrificing in order to start this rebellion. I thought it was extremely diabolical too when Mon was just accusing her husband of gambling just to really sort of hand wave her debts off a little bit, and I thought it was both ingenious and very evil, but I absolutely loved it, and I loved seeing her go to these lengths, and she ends up doing the deal with that dude that she didn't really like and kind of marrying off her daughter in a not arranged marriage. It's starting to make a lot more sense as to why it might be easy for her to leave her family at one point and just go join the rebellion fully, which we know she does in a couple years now. So, you know, with her family just kind of not really liking her at the moment, it's probably a lot easier for her to run off to the rebellion. I loved seeing the Senate too, and all the different senators and all the parties they went to, and really the fact that all of the other senators, for the most part, don't really care that the Emperor is taking all their power away. As long as they're getting rich and fat and happy, then it's all good with them. So you can really see that they don't care about all the people they're supposed to be serving. They really just care about themselves for the most part. Luthen was also a great addition, and I really want to see more of his backstory and what got him into the rebellion, because he looks to be a pretty successful antiques dealer, and someone that's benefiting this much off the Empire, I feel like has to have some tragic loss or something in his background that was going to force him to the rebellion and be essentially as heartless and cold as he has to be. The prison, I thought, seemed a little bit harsh even for the Empire's standard, but I guess when you have so many prisons all over the place, it's tough to maintain a very standardized amount of force that you should use against your prisoners, and I didn't really understand the whole prisoner thing where they ended up killing a bunch of people, because why would you send one of those prisoners back to another holding cell or whatever, and like, why would you not just release him? It makes no sense. You could say that it's a labor shortage and they don't want to release these people because they need the laborers, but if that were the case, they wouldn't sacrifice literally 100 workers just for that one worker to bring him back. The only thing I can really think here is that what they're doing there is so inhumane and so against even the Empire that if word were to get out what was happening there, then they would be shut down. So really, to not release anybody in the long run is just so that they can keep up their sadistic practices at that prison. I was pretty bummed, I think, like the rest of you, when Kino said he couldn't swim there, because I was like, dude, what? Are you kidding me? That's what's gonna hold you up? I mean, I feel like if I was in that prison and I couldn't swim, I'd probably just jump anyway, because it's a hell of a lot better than going back to whatever the heck waits for me inside that prison after a prison break. I can't imagine those guards are gonna be particularly happy with my actions, because I was kind of the guy on the intercom leading the whole thing, and now you have just me. I mean, I don't think he died because we didn't see him die, but man, I almost wish he died, because it feels like that could be a fate worse than death if he didn't jump off there and he went back to the Empire. I also thought, wait, there's not one single shuttle in that whole facility that he could have used to get off the planet? Oh man, I think I'm just bummed that he died or got lost, but I hope we see him again. And Andy Serkis is just an amazing actor, and I think he is well warranted to come back. Vel, the rebellion girl that wanted her girlfriend Cinta to kind of step back from the rebellion for a sec and like just kind of enjoy her company, would then go turn around and do that exact same treatment to her cousin, Mon Mothma, and I just thought that was a great little parallel there, because you can really see how it kind of skews different viewpoints, and it's like certain people you just want to focus on the mission with, I guess, and certain people you actually want to be intimate and have them step back from that life just for a second even. But it was interesting that that is Mon Mothma's cousin as well, really expanding her family here. I'm sure everybody sitting at home like myself was like, you better not go back to Ferrix too because your mother died and you want to go to the funeral. I mean, I think a way more compelling plot point would have been him going back to rescue Bix, because if the guy said, hey, Bix was captured, you know, they're torturing her, then that would give him an actual legit action to do to go back, other than just going back for a funeral, which, mind you, he didn't attend anyway. I mean, I guess he kind of saw it from hiding very briefly, but really, as soon as he learned that, then he kind of abandoned the whole funeral to begin with and just went to save Bix, which I think that should have been his reason for going back to Ferrix all along. I was hoping that ISB agent Daedra was going to get killed there, but of course no, everybody's second least favorite villain of this show, Syril, shows up to save her, and I guess she's going to be somewhat grateful to him. I mean, she's a terrible person, so I don't really see her pulling a lot of strings, but you know, I think her assistant died there by Cinta stabbing him at the end, so I could definitely see Syril kind of stepping up into the role of her assistant for season 2. I think that would actually make a lot of sense, especially since he's been tracking Andor, and now I presume she's going to be tracking Andor, so she'll probably want a little bit more of that intel that he has, and I could definitely see that as Cyril's way into the Imperial command. I think Ferrix is going to be in a real tough spot next season, though, if they even go back. I mean, I feel like they're just going to come back with a vengeance, really crack down on everybody, and honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if a lot of those people just straight up got killed when the Empire comes in to really tighten its grip. I absolutely love the end, though, that now that after he's been arrested, his mother died, Bix was tortured, the Imperials started cracking down on his hometown, he finally realized, he got it through his head, that he needs to join the rebellion because he has skills that would be useful, and he just at this point kind of wants to take these people down, if not for anything, for his mom. You could just tell how happy Luthen was at the end when Andor came in and said, you can kill me now or you can let me join, because I really feel like Luthen understands that Cassian actually does have a lot of skills that he could use, and he's going to be using them very religiously, I assume. But I definitely think it was a way better deal for him than killing Andor. As soon as Andor said that he was willing to join full-time legit for the cause, I think there was no question in Luthen's mind. He was already ready to accept Cass. I'm really excited to see where season 2 goes, though, and I kind of wanted to see Thrawn in a cameo here because he is around in the Empire during this time, but I mean, I get it. I guess it wouldn't make sense to show him for the first time, introduce him through a cameo in Andor, but for season 2, Ahsoka will have already been done. At least the first season will have been done by season 2 of Andor, so I think there's a real possibility that Thrawn will be introduced in that, so I would definitely be interested to see if he would get a cameo in this. I wouldn't even be surprised if now Daedra has kind of failed in her mission on Ferrix, so I assume that she's going to get chewed out when she goes back to ISB command. So, you know, who knows, maybe they call in Thrawn for some technical advice or strategic tactical advice to what they should maybe start pursuing and really start cracking down on this overall rebellion. What was your favorite part of Andor, though, and what are you looking forward to in season 2? Did you like that there weren't many cameos or connections to the other Star Wars movies, or did you kind of want to see some other Star Wars characters that you already know show up? I'm Keegs, and I will catch you all next time for some more Star Wars content.